The stars looked different from the bridge of the UES Covenant as it moved toward Kepler Prime Station. Commander Jake Morrison stood at the main window watching the alien structure grow larger with each passing hour. The station was huge and strange, with metal surfaces that seemed to shift colors in the starlight. Jake had never seen anything like it before today. "Sir, we are getting close to docking range," said Communications Officer Tony Rivera from his station behind Jake. Tony was young but smart and had learned 3 alien languages in the past 2 years. His job was to make sure humans and aliens could talk to each other without problems. Jake turned away from the window and walked to his command chair. The bridge was quiet except for the soft sounds of computers working. Dr. Lisa Carter sat at her science station reading data about the alien species they were about to meet. She was the best person Earth had for understanding how aliens lived and thought. "How many ships are around the station?" Jake asked Tony. Tony looked at his screens and counted the signals. 12 large ships, sir, and maybe 20 smaller ones. They all belonged to different alien species in the consortium. The Galactic Consortium was a group of 12 alien races that controlled most of known space. They had been in charge of this part of the galaxy for thousands of years. Earth had only learned about them 5 years ago when human deep space probes found their territory. Now humans were here to join their group. "Dr. Carter, what do we know about their leader?" Jake said. Lisa looked up from her computer. "Prime, Speaker Vexthaler is from the Zephyrian race. They look like giant insects, but they are very smart. The Zephyrians have been leading the consortium for over 800 years. They are known for being good at making deals and keeping peace between different species." Jake nodded, but something felt wrong in his stomach. He had been a soldier for 20 years before becoming a diplomat. His gut feelings had kept him alive in many battles. Right now, those feelings were telling him to be careful. The Covenant docked with Kepler Prime Station 2 hours later. Jake put on his best uniform and gathered his team. Besides Lisa and Tony, he brought 6 Marines for protection and 2 other diplomats who knew about trade and law. The airlock opened and they walked into the alien station. The air smelled different and felt thicker than Earth air. The walls were covered with lights and symbols that moved and changed. Aliens of different shapes and sizes walked through the corridors. Some looked like birds, others like fish, and some like nothing Jake had ever imagined. A group of Zephyrians waited for them in the main corridor. Prime Speaker Vexthalar was 7 feet tall with 4 arms and 6 legs. His head looked like a triangle with big black eyes. When he spoke, his voice came through a translation device that made him sound almost human. "Welcome humans to Kepler Prime. We are very happy to meet you and discuss your future with the Galactic Consortium." Jake stepped forward and gave a small bow as he had been taught. "Thank you, Prime Speaker. Earth is honored to be here. We hope this meeting will benefit both our peoples." The aliens led them to a large meeting room with a round table. 12 different alien species sat around the table, each representing their homeworld in the consortium. Jake and his team sat in the chairs that had been made for humans. Prime Speaker Vexthalar began the meeting. "Humans have impressed us with your technology and your spirit. In just a few hundred years, you have gone from simple farmers to space travelers. This shows great promise. We offer you membership in the Galactic Consortium through the integration Accords. This treaty will give your species many benefits. You will receive advanced technology for energy medicine and space travel. Your ships will be protected by consortium law. Your people will be able to trade with hundreds of worlds." Jake listened carefully as the alien explained the treaty terms. Everything sounded good, maybe too good. Earth would get faster than light. Travel, which meant humans could reach other stars in days instead of years. They would get clean energy that could power whole cities without pollution. They would get medical technology that could cure most diseases. "What does Earth need to give in return?" Jake asked. "Very little," said Vexthalar. "You will follow consortium laws when traveling in our space. You will share some of your own technology with other member species. You will allow consortium representatives to visit Earth to help with integration." Dr. Carter was taking notes on everything, but Jake saw her frown slightly. She had noticed something that bothered her, but she did not speak up during the meeting. The negotiations continued for 6 hours. The aliens answered every question Jake asked and seemed willing to change small details in the treaty. They wanted humans to be happy with the agreement. Jake began to feel more comfortable about the deal. During a break, Tony came to Jake with a worried look. "Sir, I have been listening to radio signals between the alien ships. They are using codes that my computer cannot break. That seems strange. For allies who trust each other." Jake thought about this information. "Keep monitoring their communications. Tell me if you learn anything important." When the meeting started again, Vexthaler brought out the final treaty documents. The papers were written in English and several alien languages. Jake read through every page looking for problems, but the terms still seemed fair. "This is a generous offer," Jake said. "But Earth needs time to study these documents carefully. We cannot sign something this important without thinking about it." "Of course," said Vexthaler. "Take all the time you need. We suggest 3 days for review. After that, we can sign the treaty and begin the integration process immediately." The alien delegates seemed pleased with this timeline. They talked among themselves in their own languages while Jake and his team prepared to leave the meeting room. That night aboard the Covenant, Jake could not sleep. He walked to the observation deck and stared at the alien station. Hundreds of lights blinked on its surface and ships moved around it like insects around a hive. Everything looked peaceful, but his soldier instincts kept warning him about danger. Dr. Carter found him there an hour later. "Something is bothering you too," she said. "What did you notice in the meeting?" Jake asked. "The Zephyrians were releasing chemical signals during our negotiations. I detected traces in the air that could affect human brain chemistry. They might be trying to influence our decisions without us knowing it." Jake felt his stomach tighten. "Are you sure about this?" "I need to run more tests, but yes, I think they are using some kind of biological manipulation. The question is whether they are doing it on purpose or if it is just natural for their species." Jake looked back at the alien station. "Keep studying those chemicals. We need to know what we are dealing with before we sign anything." 2 days remained before the treaty signing. Jake hoped they would be enough time to learn the truth about their new alien friends and their generous offer. Patricia Wells sat in the underground command center in Geneva, staring at data streams from across the galaxy. The Global Defense Initiative had been monitoring deep space communications for years, and what she found made her blood run cold. Every alien species that joined the consortium followed the same pattern, and none of it was good. Patricia had been working on this analysis for 3 months, ever since Earth learned about the diplomatic mission to Kepler Prime. Her job was to study how the consortium treated new member species. The results were terrifying. "Computer, show me the integration timeline for the Altarian species," Patricia said to her workstation. The screen filled with data about a bird-like race that joined the consortium 40 years ago. Year 1 showed massive technology transfers and economic growth. Year 5 showed increased dependence on consortium trade and energy systems. Year 10 showed political changes as consortium advisors took key government positions. Year 20 showed complete economic control by consortium corporations. Year 30 showed the Altarian military disbanded and replaced by consortium peacekeepers. "Show me the Valdris integration timeline," Patricia ordered. The same pattern appeared. The Valdris were a proud warrior race that joined the consortium 60 years ago. They had fought off invasion fleets for centuries but fell to the consortium without a single battle. Technology gifts became economic dependence. Trade agreements became political control. Advisory positions became military occupation. Patricia had studied 12 different species and found the same story every time. The consortium did not conquer worlds with weapons. They conquered them with contracts and treaties that looked generous but were actually traps. Her computer beeped with an incoming priority message from Admiral Frank Hayes. Patricia opened the encrypted channel and saw the Admiral's worried face on her screen. "Wells, what is your assessment of the consortium integration process?" Admiral Hayes asked without greeting. "Sir, it is a sophisticated enslavement system. Every species that signs their treaty becomes a vassal state within 50 years. They use economic dependence, technology addiction, and political manipulation to achieve complete control." Admiral Hayes was quiet for a long moment. "How confident are you in this analysis?" 98%, sir. The pattern is consistent across all member species. The only variations are in timeline based on how advanced the species was before integration. Send me everything you have. I am activating Protocol Omega immediately. Patricia felt her heart race. Protocol Omega was Earth's most secret defense plan. It meant Admiral Hayes believed humanity was facing an existential threat. Meanwhile, at Kepler Prime Station, Dr. Lisa Carter was conducting her own investigation. She had convinced the aliens to let her study consortium biology as part of the cultural exchange program. What she discovered was worse than she had imagined. Lisa used a portable scanner to analyze air samples from the meeting rooms. The device detected complex organic compounds that she did not recognize. She compared them to her database of known alien biochemistry and found partial matches to several species. "Tony, I need you to help me with something," Lisa said, when she found the communications officer in the ship's lab. "What do you need, Doc?" "I want to scan the Zephyrians when they are not expecting it. Can you create a distraction during tomorrow's meeting?" Tony looked curious but agreed to help. The next day during negotiations, he caused a minor malfunction with the translation system that required him to approach the alien delegates. While everyone was distracted, Lisa used her scanner to analyze Vexthalar directly. The results made her sick. The Zephyrian was actively producing and releasing chemical compounds designed to affect human brain chemistry. The chemicals increased trust, reduced suspicion, and made people more willing to agree with suggestions. The aliens were literally drugging the human negotiating team. Lisa immediately sent her findings to Jake through a secure channel. She also discovered something else that worried her. The communications between Earth and the Covenant were being monitored and partially blocked by consortium technology. Important messages were being delayed or lost completely. Back on Earth, Admiral Hayes received Patricia's report and felt the weight of humanity's survival on his shoulders. He immediately contacted General Karen Price, head of the Solar Navy's Strategic Command. "Karen, we have a problem. The consortium is planning to enslave humanity just like they did to every other species. I am activating all hidden defense protocols." General Price had been expecting this call. "How much time do we have?" "Morrison's team signs the treaty in 18 hours. After that, consortium fleets will move to occupy our solar system under the guise of integration assistance." "Understood, sir. Project Blackout is ready to deploy." For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. Deep space monitoring stations had tracked every alien ship that entered human territory. Scientists had reverse-engineered crashed alien technology. Engineers had built weapons and ships in secret locations throughout the solar system. Project Blackout was humanity's insurance policy. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt had constructed over 300 stealth warships using technology that combined human innovation with captured alien systems. These ships had been waiting in the dark spaces between planets invisible to most sensors. Dr. Helen Ross received activation orders at her research facility on Europa. She was head of the Xenotechnology Weapons Program and had spent decades developing counters to alien technology. Her team had created quantum disruption missiles that could disable consortium shields and faster than light drives. "Begin deployment of all Shadow Fleet vessels," Admiral Hayes ordered from his command center. "All units are to maintain stealth protocols until further orders." Across the solar system, hidden bases came alive. Ships that officially did not exist powered up their engines and began moving toward predetermined positions. Weapons platforms, disguised as asteroids or space debris, armed their systems. Communication networks designed to work even under alien jamming came online. Captain Jake Morrison tried to contact Earth from the Covenant, but found that most of his messages were not getting through. The few replies he received were delayed and seemed incomplete. Tony confirmed that consortium technology was interfering with their communications. "Sir, I think they are preparing to cut us off from Earth completely," Tony said. "The interference is getting stronger every hour." Jake made a decision that would change everything. "Send a coded burst transmission using the old military channels. Include everything we know about consortium fleet positions, their technology, and Dr. Carter's biological findings." "Sir, that will probably alert them that we know about their surveillance." "Do it anyway. Earth needs this information." The message launched toward Earth at light speed. It would take hours to arrive, but it contained everything Jake's team had learned about the consortium's real intentions. The information included detailed scans of alien technology, tactical assessments of their military capabilities, and proof of their biological manipulation. Aboard Kepler Prime Station Prime Speaker, Vexthaler met with his military commanders. The Zephyrian was pleased with how smoothly the operation was proceeding. Consortium battle fleets were already in position around Earth's solar system, waiting for the treaty signing. The humans suspect nothing, Vexthaler said to his officers. Their primitive scanning technology cannot detect our stealth ships. Once they sign tomorrow, we will have complete control of their system within 72 hours. What if they refuse to sign? Asked Commander Zelktar. Then we activate contingency. Plan 3. We claim they entered consortium space with hostile intent and destroy their military forces as a threat to galactic peace. Either way, Earth becomes ours. The consortium had used this strategy dozens of times before. Species that signed the treaty were slowly absorbed over decades. Species that refused were conquered immediately and absorbed by force. The end result was always the same. But Vexthaler had made one crucial mistake. He had underestimated humanity's paranoia and preparation. Earth's leaders had always assumed that any advanced alien civilization might be hostile. They had spent decades preparing for exactly this scenario. Patricia Wells worked through the night analyzing consortium fleet movements and tactical capabilities. She discovered that the aliens had positioned their forces to attack Earth's major population centers and military bases simultaneously. The attack would be swift and overwhelming, leaving humanity no time to organize resistance. Admiral, they plan to hit us in 3 waves, Patricia reported to Hayes. First, they will destroy our space-based defenses. Then they will attack our ground installations. Finally, they will land occupation forces to secure key infrastructure. Admiral Hayes studied the tactical projections. What are their weaknesses? Their ships are powerful, but they rely heavily on energy shields and faster-than-light communication. If we can disrupt those systems, their coordination will collapse. Perfect. That is exactly what Dr. Ross designed our weapons to do. As Earth prepared for war, Jake Morrison aboard the Covenant made his final preparations. Tomorrow he would sign a treaty that would doom humanity to slavery. But tonight he would make sure Earth was ready to fight back. The morning of the treaty signing arrived with false hope and hidden danger. Commander Jake Morrison walked into the main conference room aboard Kepler Prime Station, knowing this would be the most important day in human history. Prime Speaker. Vexthaler waited at the ceremonial table with documents that would either save Earth or doom it forever. Commander Morrison, we are pleased you have decided to join the Galactic Consortium, Vexthaler said as Jake approached. The alien's voice carried satisfaction that made Jake's skin crawl. Before we begin, I need to address something, Jake said. He placed Dr. Carter's scanner data on the table between them. My science officer detected chemical compounds in our meeting rooms that affect human brain chemistry. She believes your species has been using biological manipulation during our negotiations. Vexthaler looked at the data without surprise or concern. Ah, yes, that is simply how Zephyrians communicate. We release pheromones to express emotions and intentions. It is no different than humans using facial expressions or voice tones. But these chemicals directly influence human decision-making. You have been drugging my negotiating team to make us more agreeable. That is a very harsh interpretation, Commander. We merely wish to ensure smooth communication between our species. Cultural differences can cause misunderstandings that lead to conflict. Jake felt anger building in his chest but forced himself to stay calm. So you admit to manipulating us. We admit to facilitating successful negotiations. Your species has a reputation for violence and aggression. The pheromones simply helped reduce those tendencies during our talks. The casual way Vexthaler dismissed biological manipulation told Jake everything he needed to know about consortium ethics. These aliens saw humans as primitive creatures that needed to be managed and controlled. Dr. Carter entered the conference room with Tony Rivera behind her. Both looked worried and excited at the same time. Carter approached Jake with a data tablet in her hands. "Sir, we broke the encryption on those intercepted communications," Carter said quietly. "You need to see this immediately." Jake read the translated messages and felt his blood turn to ice. The communications revealed consortium battle fleets positioned throughout Earth's solar system. Orders discussed occupation timelines and resource allocation. Most disturbing were references to human labor quotas and population management protocols. "Tony, how many ships are we talking about?" Jake whispered. "At least 60 major warships, sir, plus hundreds of support vessels. They have enough firepower to destroy Earth's entire space navy in minutes." Jake looked back at Vex Thalar, who was watching the human conversation with interest. The alien knew exactly what they had discovered but showed no concern about being exposed. "You seem troubled, Commander," Vex Thalar said. "Perhaps you have questions about the integration process." "I have several questions, starting with why you have invasion fleets surrounding my homeworld." Vex Thalar made a sound that might have been laughter. "Invasion is such an ugly word. We prefer to call them escort fleets. They will help ensure a smooth transition as Earth integrates into consortium space. And if we refuse to sign your treaty, then sadly we would be forced to protect other consortium worlds from human aggression. Your species entered our territory with warships after all. Such actions could be interpreted as hostile intent under galactic law. The trap was perfect, and had been planned for years. Sign the treaty, and Earth becomes a slave world occupied by consortium forces. Refuse to sign, and Earth gets destroyed for violating alien territorial laws. Either way, humanity loses everything." Jake realized that every word spoken in these negotiations had been calculated to lead to this moment. The consortium had studied human psychology and designed their approach to give Earth leaders the illusion of choice while offering no real alternatives. "How long have you been planning this?" Jake asked. "Since we first detected human space flights 50 years ago. Your species showed great potential but also great danger. We decided early that humanity would either serve the consortium or cease to exist." Dr. Carter stepped forward with fire in her eyes. "You studied us for 50 years just to figure out how to enslave us. We studied you to understand you. Every species requires a different approach. Warriors like the Valdris respond to displays of superior force. Merchants like the Altarians respond to profitable trade agreements. Humans respond to hope and the promise of advancement." Jake felt sick as he understood the full scope of consortium manipulation. They had crafted their entire approach around human psychology, offering exactly what Earth's leaders wanted most: advanced technology, clean energy, medical breakthroughs, and the chance to join a galactic civilization. Back on Earth, Admiral Hayes received Jake's coded transmission with full details of the consortium trap. The message confirmed Patricia Wells's analysis and provided crucial intelligence about alien fleet positions and capabilities. "All Shadow Fleet units, this is Command Actual," Admiral Hayes broadcast on encrypted military channels. "Execute Protocol Omega immediately. Weapons free on all consortium targets." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses came alive. Ships that had waited in darkness for decades powered up their engines and armed their weapons. The Shadow fleet consisted of vessels built specifically to fight alien technology, using Earth's greatest advantages: speed, stealth, and overwhelming firepower. Dr. Helen Ross monitored the deployment from her command center on Europa. "All quantum disruption missiles are armed and ready, Admiral. Target designation is proceeding according to plan. Fire when ready. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity." The first wave of human attacks struck consortium forces without warning. Quantum disruption missiles disabled alien shields and faster-than-light communications, leaving their fleets blind and vulnerable. Shadow Fleet vessels emerged from asteroid fields and planetary shadows to hit enemy ships with concentrated fire. Aboard Kepler Prime Station, alarms began sounding as reports came in from the battle around Earth. Vex Thalar listened to damage reports with growing alarm as his carefully planned invasion turned into a disaster. "How is this possible?" the alien commander demanded. "Human technology is primitive compared to ours." "Sir, we are detecting over 300 unknown human vessels. They appear to be using some form of advanced stealth technology combined with Weapons specifically designed to counter our defenses. Jake smiled as he watched the consortium's confidence crumble. You spent 50 years studying us, but you missed the most important thing about humanity. We never trust anyone completely, and we always prepare for the worst. The battle for Earth raged for 6 hours. Consortium forces had superior technology, but humans had superior tactics and the advantage of surprise. Every alien ship found itself outnumbered and outgunned by enemies that had been waiting in ambush. Dr. Carter worked frantically to analyze consortium computer systems as chaos erupted around them. She had discovered that Kepler Prime Station contained detailed records of every species the consortium had enslaved over the centuries. "Jake, I found something incredible," Carter said as she downloaded files from the station's database. "They have complete records of how they manipulated and conquered dozens of civilizations. This could expose their entire operation." Tony was monitoring communications between consortium worlds as news of the Earth battle spread. "Sir, alien colonies are starting to ask questions about the integration accords. Some are demanding to renegotiate their treaties." Jake realized they had stumbled onto something bigger than just Earth's freedom. The consortium's power was built on lies and manipulation that could be exposed. If other species learned the truth about their treaties, the entire alien empire might collapse. "Can you broadcast Carter's findings to the entire galaxy?" Jake asked. "Tony, if I can access the station's main communication array, yes, sir. But that would mean revealing everything we know to every species in consortium space." "Do it. Let the galaxy know what these aliens really are." As Tony worked to penetrate the station's communication systems, Vexithaler made one final attempt to salvage his plans. The alien leader approached Jake with what might have been desperation in his alien features. "Commander, you do not understand the consequences of your actions. The consortium maintains peace and order across thousands of worlds. Without our guidance, species fall into chaos and war. You mean without your control, species might actually be free? Freedom is an illusion. Every civilization needs structure and purpose. The consortium provides both." Jake looked at the alien who had tried to trick humanity into slavery. "Maybe other species are willing to trade freedom for security. Humans are not." The communication array came online and began broadcasting Carter's evidence across the galaxy. The truth about consortium manipulation spread to every world in their territory within hours. Species that had lived under alien control for centuries suddenly understood they had been deceived. On Earth, the battle ended with complete human victory. Consortium fleets were destroyed or captured, and their survivors faced a choice between surrender and death. Admiral Hayes broadcast terms for alien surrender that shocked the galaxy with their fairness. All consortium forces will withdraw from human space immediately. Prisoners will be treated according to human military law. The coded transmission from Commander Morrison reached Earth just 2 hours before the scheduled treaty signing. Admiral Frank Hayes read the message 3 times before he believed what he was seeing. The intelligence contained detailed information about consortium fleet positions, their military capabilities, and proof of their biological manipulation tactics. "Patricia, get in here now," Admiral Hayes called to his intelligence analyst. Patricia Wells rushed into the command center with her latest analysis of consortium expansion patterns. "Sir, Morrison's team confirms everything we suspected. The integration accords are a trap designed to enslave humanity. Consortium battle fleets are already positioned around our solar system, waiting to occupy Earth the moment that treaty is signed." Admiral Hayes felt the weight of humanity's survival pressing down on his shoulders. "How long until they expect the signing?" "Less than 2 hours, sir. After that, we estimate 72 hours before full occupation of Earth's major population centers. Then we end this before it starts. Activate Protocol Omega across all commands." The order went out simultaneously to hidden bases throughout the solar system. Project Blackout had been humanity's most classified defense program for 50 years. Now it would either save Earth or die trying. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter received activation codes and began launching vessels that officially did not exist. The Shadow Fleet consisted of over 300 stealth warships built using technology, reverse-engineered from crashed alien vessels, and enhanced with uniquely human innovations. Dr. Helen Ross supervised weapons deployment from her research facility on Europa. Her team had spent decades developing quantum disruption technology specifically designed to counter consortium defenses. The weapons could disable alien shields' energy systems and faster-than-light drives with targeted electromagnetic pulses. All quantum disruption missiles are armed and ready for deployment, Dr. Ross reported to Admiral Hayes. We have targeting solutions for every detected consortium vessel. What about their stealth ships? Our gravitational sensors can detect mass distortions even through their cloaking fields. We have identified 47 additional vessels hiding throughout the solar system. Admiral Hayes smiled grimly. The aliens thought their technology made them invisible, but human scientists had learned to track ships by the gravity wells they created in space. Consortium forces had no idea they had already been detected and targeted. Captain Jake Morrison and his team aboard the Covenant began their own preparations as chaos erupted around Kepler Prime Station. The alien command center was receiving reports of massive human fleet movements throughout Earth's solar system. Consortium commanders could not understand how humanity had built such advanced warships without their knowledge. Dr. Carter, can you access the station's main computer systems? Jake asked as alarms continued to sound around them. I am already in their database. Jake, these files contain everything about how they enslaved other species. Integration timelines. Occupation protocols and resource extraction plans for hundreds of worlds. Download everything. The galaxy needs to know what the consortium really is. Tony Rivera worked frantically to penetrate Kepler Prime's communication array. If he could access the main transmitter, he could broadcast Carter's evidence to every world in consortium space. The truth about alien manipulation could spark rebellions across the galaxy. Meanwhile, the first phase of Earth's counterattack began as Shadow Fleet vessels emerged from hiding places throughout the solar system. Human ships had been waiting in the dark spaces between planets invisible to most sensors and armed with weapons designed specifically to fight alien technology. The USS Freedom led the attack on consortium forces near Earth's moon. Captain Robert Kane had trained for this mission his entire career, knowing that humanity might face exactly this scenario. His ship and crew represented Earth's best hope for survival. All weapons armed and ready, sir, reported Weapons Officer Linda Hayes. Quantum disruption missiles locked onto enemy shield generators. Fire when ready. Show these aliens what humans do to slavers. The first volley of quantum disruption missiles struck consortium ships before they could react. Alien shields collapsed and their faster-than-light communication systems went offline, leaving enemy fleets blind and isolated. Human vessels swarmed around disabled alien ships like wolves attacking wounded prey. Admiral Hayes coordinated the battle from his command center deep beneath Geneva. Real-time data streams showed human forces engaging consortium fleets throughout the solar system. The aliens had superior individual ship technology, but humans had superior numbers, tactics, and the advantage of total surprise. Sir Consortium, forces are attempting to retreat toward the outer system, reported General Karen Price from the Solar Navy Command Center. Do not let them escape. Any ship that tries to run gets destroyed. We cannot allow them to report our capabilities to their superiors. The battle for Earth's independence raged across millions of miles of space as human and alien forces clashed among the planets. Consortium commanders had prepared for a quick occupation mission against primitive opponents. Instead, they found themselves fighting for survival against an enemy that knew they were coming and had prepared accordingly. Dr. Ross monitored weapons effectiveness from Europa as quantum disruption technology proved devastatingly effective against alien defenses. Admiral, our weapons are performing better than expected. Consortium shields are collapsing with single hits and their ships are losing power across all systems. What about casualties on our side? Minimal, sir. Shadow Fleet stealth systems are working perfectly. Most alien ships cannot even target our vessels effectively. Back at Kepler Prime Station, Jake Morrison watched as Consortium authority collapsed around him. Prime Speaker Vexthaler tried desperately to rally his forces, but human attacks had severed communication links between alien fleets. The carefully coordinated invasion had become a chaotic retreat. Commander Morrison, your species has made a grave mistake. Vexithaler said as he approached Jake with what might have been desperation in his alien features. The consortium has maintained peace and stability for thousands of years. Without our guidance, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Maybe the galaxy needs a little chaos if it means freedom from your manipulation. Dr. Carter finished downloading the complete consortium database and turned to Jake with excitement in her eyes. I have everything. Integration protocols for 73 different species. Economic manipulation strategies. Military occupation timelines. This proves they have been enslaving civilizations for over 2,000 years. Tony finally penetrated the station's main communication array and prepared to broadcast the evidence across known space. Jake, I can reach every world in consortium territory. If I send this information, it will expose their entire operation to the galaxy. Do it. Let every enslaved species know the truth about their treaties. The transmission began broadcasting Carter's evidence to thousands of worlds throughout consortium space. The information revealed how the integration accords worked as tools of enslavement and how every member species had been systematically manipulated and controlled over decades. On Earth, the battle entered its final phase as remaining consortium. Forces attempted to escape the solar system. Human pursuit ships hunted down fleeing alien vessels while Admiral Hayes coordinated mop-up operations. Sir, we are receiving surrender requests from multiple consortium vessels. Reported communications. Officer Betty Parker. Accept surrenders but maintain weapons locks on all alien ships. Any vessel that makes aggressive moves gets destroyed immediately. The victory was complete and decisive. In less than 6 hours, humanity had destroyed or captured an invasion fleet that had taken the consortium years to assemble. More importantly, they had exposed the truth about alien manipulation to the entire galaxy. Reports began coming in from across consortium space as the evidence broadcast triggered reactions on hundreds of worlds. Species that had lived under alien control for centuries started demanding explanations from their consortium representatives. Some began organizing resistance movements, while others simply declared independence. The Valdris warrior clans were the first to act on the information. Within hours of receiving the broadcast, they attacked consortium facilities throughout their territory and declared themselves free from alien rule. The proud warriors had never forgotten their independence and jumped at the chance to reclaim. The Altarian commercial guilds followed quickly behind, demanding renegotiation of all trade agreements with the consortium. The bird-like merchants had always been suspicious of alien generosity, and now understood why the deals had seemed too good to be true. Jake Morrison realized that humanity had not just won a battle for Earth's freedom. They had started a galactic revolution that would reshape the balance of power across known space. The age of consortium dominance was ending, and humans had fired the first shot. Tony sent a message to Admiral Hayes. Jake ordered. The aftermath of the battle for Earth sent shockwaves across the galaxy that would be felt for generations. Within 24 hours of humanity's victory, reports came flooding in from consortium space as enslaved species began rising up against their alien masters. The truth broadcast by Dr. Carter had exposed centuries of lies and manipulation. Admiral Frank Hayes stood in the main command center watching real-time intelligence feeds from across known space. The consortium empire was collapsing faster than anyone had imagined possible. Dozens of species were declaring independence, while others demanded immediate renegotiation of their integration treaties. Sir, we are receiving diplomatic requests from 47 different species, reported Communications Director Paul Green. They all want to establish contact with Earth and discuss new relationships based on actual equality. Admiral Hayes felt the weight of galactic politics settling on his shoulders. What is the status of remaining consortium forces? Most have surrendered or fled beyond our sensor range. We captured over 200 alien vessels and took nearly 10,000 prisoners. The few ships that escaped are scattered and cut off from their command structure. Dr. Helen Ross entered the command center with a detailed analysis of captured consortium technology. Her reverse engineering teams had been studying alien systems around the clock since the battle ended. Admiral, their technology is impressive, but not as advanced as we initially believed. Most of their advantages came from superior organization and industrial capacity rather than revolutionary science. With access to their databases, our research teams can match their capabilities within 5 years. This was welcome news for humanity's future. Earth would not remain dependent on alien technology, but could develop its own advanced systems using consortium knowledge as a foundation. Meanwhile, at Kepler Prime Station, Commander Jake Morrison prepared for the most important negotiation in human history. The surviving consortium leadership had requested a meeting to discuss terms for ending hostilities. Jake would represent Earth in talks that would determine the future of galactic civilization. Prime Speaker Vex Thalar looked very different from the confident alien leader who had tried to trick humanity just days earlier. The Zephyrian's movements seemed slower, and his translator carried notes of uncertainty that had not been there before. Commander Morrison, the Consortium Council is prepared to discuss terms for peace between our peoples, Vexathalar said as he approached the negotiating table. Peace is a good start, but Earth has conditions that are not negotiable, Jake replied. He placed a data tablet on the table containing humanity's demands. First, all consortium forces will withdraw immediately from human space and will not return, without permission. Second, the consortium will provide reparations for the attempted invasion, including technology transfers and raw materials. Third, Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power with the right to establish its own alliances and territorial claims. Vexathalar reviewed the terms with growing alarm. These conditions would severely limit consortium operations in this sector of the galaxy. That is the point. Your empire was built on lies and coercion. Those days are over. Dr. Carter joined the negotiations with evidence that would change everything. Her analysis of consortium records had revealed the locations of species that had been completely enslaved or destroyed by alien expansion over the centuries. Jake, we found something incredible. There are 17 species that were supposed to join the consortium, but disappeared from all records. I think they were exterminated when they refused integration. The implications were staggering. The consortium had not just enslaved civilizations that opposed them, but had committed genocide against entire species. This evidence would justify any action humanity chose to take against the alien empire. Vex Thalar. What happened to the Corvani Republic? Jake asked. The Corvani were listed in early consortium records but vanished completely about 300 years ago. The alien leader remained silent for several seconds before responding. The Corvani chose to resist integration. They attacked consortium vessels and refused all diplomatic solutions. Military action became necessary to protect other member species. You mean you destroyed their entire civilization because they would not surrender their freedom? They made their choice, Commander. The galaxy is a dangerous place and survival sometimes requires difficult decisions. Jake felt disgust rising in his throat as he realized the full scope of consortium crimes. These aliens had murdered billions of innocent people across the centuries, simply because they refused to become slaves. Back on Earth, reports continued pouring in about the galactic revolution humanity had triggered. The Valdris clans had liberated their homeworld and were attacking consortium facilities throughout their former territory. The Altarian guilds had seized control of major trade routes and declared independence from alien oversight. Most significantly, the Terracan Federation had emerged from hiding after 2 centuries of secret resistance. The insectoid Terracans had been one of the first species to join the consortium, but had never stopped planning for freedom. With humanity's example to follow, they struck at alien installations across dozens of systems simultaneously. Admiral, the Terracans are requesting military assistance, reported Intelligence Officer Sandra Price. They have 300 combat vessels but need support to take heavily fortified consortium strongholds. Admiral Hayes made a decision that would reshape galactic politics forever. Send the Second Shadow Fleet to assist Terracan operations. Humanity will support any species fighting for legitimate freedom. The deployment of human forces to support alien rebels marked Earth's emergence as a major galactic power. Other species watched carefully as humanity backed up its words with military action against consortium tyranny. At Kepler Prime Station, Jake Morrison delivered humanity's final ultimatum to the remaining consortium leadership. The terms were simple and non-negotiable. The consortium will immediately grant independence to any species that requests it. All integration treaties will be renegotiated as equals. rather than master and servant. War crimes tribunals will be established to address genocide and other atrocities committed during your expansion. Finally, Earth reserves the right to intervene militarily if any species requests assistance against consortium oppression. Vexithaler and his remaining council members conferred in hushed tones before responding. Commander, these terms would effectively end the consortium as it currently exists. Exactly. Your empire was built on slavery and murder. It has no right to continue existing. What you propose would create chaos and instability across the galaxy. Without central authority, species will fight each other instead of working together. Jake smiled at the alien's argument. Maybe some species will fight, but at least they will be free to make that choice. Freedom includes the right to make mistakes. The negotiations concluded with consortium leadership accepting most of humanity's demands. They had little choice with their military forces destroyed and their member species in open rebellion. The age of alien dominance was ending, and a new era of galactic freedom was beginning. Dr. Carter made one final discovery that would ensure the consortium never again threatened galactic freedom. Hidden in their deepest archives, she found complete technical specifications for their manipulation technologies, including the biological agents used to control other species. Jake, I can broadcast countermeasures for every form of manipulation the consortium used. Species across the galaxy will be immune to their control methods. Do it. Make sure no civilization can ever be tricked like this again. The technical broadcast reached thousands of worlds within hours, providing every species with the knowledge needed to resist future manipulation. Scientists across the galaxy began developing countermeasures while historians documented the true scope of consortium crimes. Commander Morrison returned to Earth aboard the captured Kepler Prime Station, which had been renamed New Geneva in honor of humanity's diplomatic victory. The massive alien structure would serve as Earth's first deep space diplomatic facility and a symbol of human determination. Admiral Hayes greeted Jake personally when he arrived at the station's new human command center. Commander, you have done something remarkable. You did not just save Earth, but liberated half the galaxy from alien tyranny. We all did it, Admiral. Every person who worked on the Shadow Fleet, every scientist who developed our weapons, and every intelligence analyst who exposed their plans contributed to this victory. Dr. Carter completed her final report on the consortium operation with conclusions that would guide humanity's future in space. The galaxy is full of advanced civilizations, but most are not naturally aggressive. The consortium was an aberration that used superior organization and manipulation to control species that could have defended themselves if they had known the truth. Her analysis suggested that humanity's combination of technological capability, military strength, and commitment to freedom made Earth uniquely qualified to prevent future tyrannies from arising. Other species looked to humans as protectors and liberators rather than conquerors. Tony Rivera established permanent communication, links between Earth and the growing alliance of free species.